lock it up. Lock it up. Lock it up.
Hit the guys up on the Riverwind Casino call-in line at 405-329-9000 or text the show on the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line at 405-651-3439.
Do it! Just do it!
Now, with Locked In, here's Parker Thune and Grayson Singleton.
I swear to you, I'm not making this up. I couldn't make this up if I tried. My head is spinning right now. I'm going to read you a real tweet from Real Analytics, which is, and I'm quoting from their Twitter bio, an AI-powered sports tech and data company analyzing video to measure athleticism so coaches can evaluate talent more accurately. This tweet from Real Analytics reads as follows. 2025 Scouting Combine expected 40-yard dash times. Using our in-game athleticism data, here are the expected 40-yard dash times for most of the prospects at the Scouting Combine. And you look through this list, Grayson, and you see, okay, Xavier Restrepo, 4.49, Ollie Gordon, 4.48, DJ Giddens, 4.48, Theo Weiss, 4.47. Upton Stout, the outstanding cornerback from Western Kentucky, projected to go 4.46. Quinn Ewers.
Oh, no.
Quinn Ewers. Yes, that Quinn Ewers, former Texas quarterback Quinn Ewers, is projected by Real Analytics to run a 40-yard dash time between 4.48 and 4.49. I can never take these people seriously again.
Have they ever seen Quinn Ewers run?
Like, this has to just be an AI bot tweeting this, because there's no way an actual human being put that chart together. There's no way an actual human being looked through all of that data and said, yep, Quinn Ewers, 4.48. That sounds like it's on the money.
Did it say 4.48 to 4.49?
Yes, that is the given range for what Quinn Ewers is expected to run.
So the range is 1/100th of a second.
Correct. 1/100th of a second. You know who ran a 4.48 at the NFL Combine a few years back? CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb ran a 4.48. Quintavious Ewers.
Quintavious
is supposedly going to run a 4.48.
You just moved Quinn Ewers from South Lake to Duncanville with that name.
That's a running joke down there. They call him Quintavious. I mean, if he's running a 4.48, then
may as well give him the blackest name ever if he's going to run a 4.48.
Quinn Ewers, folks, is going to be running a 4.48 in the 40-yard dash at the NFL Combine, at least if you believe the AI data of Real Analytics. What a way to start this Thursday here on Locked In. You're listening to the Ref Sports Radio Network, the home of Sooner fans. Thanks to Dorsey Jones Buick GMC for their partnership on our show. Dorsey Jones, family-owned and operated out there in El Reno. Great sales environment, friendly staff, half-price oil changes on Saturdays. So many reasons to head out there and check out all that there is to see at Dorsey Jones Buick GMC in El Reno, America. The Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line, of course, is available to you at 405-651-3439. Quinn Ewers, 4.48. If that happens, Grayson, I'm just going to quit talking about it and trying to analyze football for a living. If Quinn Ewers runs the same 40 that CeeDee Lamb ran 5 years ago at the NFL Combine, I officially give up. AI can run the world at that point. Because clearly AI has vast intellectual superiority to the human race. Two-Star Jay in Tulsa on the text line says, hey, Parker, I'm fairly certain AI analytics is a hoe.
Okay, can I say this, and then we can let this die for the rest of the day?
Please.
First of all, that was never going to be on my bingo card. To hear you say you a hoe in general, much less into a microphone. That's number one. Number two, you shortchanged Jalen Moore because there's,
Yes, I did. I couldn't say the rest of it.
well, let's educate the people. The rest of it includes a 5-letter word that rhymes with which, followed by the words "on my mama," and then another 5-letter word that only I can say.
Yes, that is accurate. Needless
How
to say,
how do I know? Because I was at the game and I heard it.
I just stopped with you. You were at the game last night. I
was
saw
at the
that.
game.
Were you there alone? Were you there with somebody?
I was with Connor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you guys decided to just swing through, see some OU hoops?
Drake gave us tickets.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. I had wanted to go to the game, but I never bought tickets because I had a coach's show in Edmond that I had to do, so I sped home from Edmond to make it. I got there right before the under-16 timeout.
Had you been to the Lloyd Noble Center before?
Nope. This is my first time at the LNC.
Pretty good first experience, I would say.
It was a hell of a game. The arena, yes, they need a new arena. I did not think it was as bad as a lot of people say it is. I thought it was a cool little arena. It's old. I get that. Boy, there were a lot of Kentucky fans there, man. There was a lot of Kentucky fans, and they brought it. They definitely. There were 3 times. I counted 3 times where the "Go Big Blue" chant was far too audible. But it was fun. It was fun. I'll tell you, Owe gave them buckets, though.
Yeah, where the hell did that come from? Like, where was that last year or the year before that?
Well, see, here's the thing.
And the most unforgivable part was he's the one guy you should know how to defend.
This is not unique to Oklahoma fans last night, but this is the part of fan disintelligence, if that's a word, that I cannot understand for the life of me. You booed him during the introductions. Okay, fine, cool. At what point do you stop poking the bear because you can't stop this dude? Every time they booed him, he's like, all right, cool. Jalen Moore want to guard me? All right, cool. I'm going to give him a 1-2, get to the rim. Jeremiah Fears took a turn. I'm going to take him to the rim. Who was it that he spun on the baseline and yammed on him going into a timeout? It was an and 1. It's like every time you kept giving him fire, he kept returning it. He scored 21 of their final 23 points and hung 30 on them. It's like, at what point do you just be like, all right, cool, we got to stop this?
Oh, Doug and Norman, there you are on the text line. Doug and Norman says, are you mocking the same Quinn Ewers who has beaten OU twice in the last 3 years by scores of 49-0 and 34-3? Asking for a friend. I'm certainly not mocking Quinn Ewers, Doug and Norman. I'm just saying what we're all thinking and what we all know to be true, which is there's no way on God's green earth that young man is running a 4.48 40-yard dash at the NFL Combine this week.
If he runs a sub 4.8 or a sub 4.7, I would be surprised.
I wonder what I could run in the 40 these days and how it would stack up to Quinn Ewers. He'd probably beat me, but he probably wouldn't beat me by much.
Are you pretty fast, straight line?
Reasonably so.
Okay.
I haven't run an actual 40 in like 5 years. So I truly don't know, but Quinn Ewers ain't exactly a mover.
No.
Oh, look, it's Stacey Dales. I'm watching the NFL Network right now. Oh, you great Stacey Dales reporting from the NFL Combine. What's up, Stacey? 405-651-3439 is the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line if you want to chime in like Doug did. Jake from Wisconsin says, did the SEC commentators bash A&M last night because their crowd was pitiful? I'm seeing a double standard with other teams in the SEC in comparison to OU. I'll be honest, Jake, I wasn't paying attention to what the crowd size looked like at A&M, but there's a reputation that Oklahoma has already cultivated in the league, and the reputation suggests that Oklahoma has the least intimidating road environment in the SEC. So.
It's wild too because last night's game said a lot, and I think the game went in the worst possible way for Oklahoma fans. Otega Owe left. Brandon Garrison has spurned you twice, and they both were the ones that burned you. And the fan turnout last night, and I think the fan involvement too at times, didn't help your case in terms of saying, hey, this is why we should be able to bring our guys back. Not to mention that Jackson Robinson is an Oklahoma native.
Greg from Lawton says, come on, Grayson, white boys ain't fast. No, generally we are not.
Tell that to Cooper DeJean.
Drake Stoops is pretty fast. There are a few of us. There are a few of us that can run. Most of us can't, but there are a few of us.
I watch baseball. There's some dudes with some that can go first to second base pretty easily.
Doug in T-Town, or I'm sorry, Puerto Rican Sooner. Puerto Rican Sooner said, Parker got that Tom Brady 40 time. Oh, yeah, dude. I bet I could run a faster 40 than Tom Brady. What he run? He ran like a 5.25 or something at the NFL Combine?
I think he was worse than that.
Oh, man. Yeah, I could get underneath that. Easy.
Does it look better?
Oh, it'll definitely look better.
Okay.
I mean, shoot, Tom Brady was lumbering. If you ever watch his 40 dash at the NFL Combine from back in the day.
1990, what, 9? Is that what it was?
99, yep. Hey, folks, just to give you a heads up as to what the rest of the show holds. In about 10 minutes, around 2:20, we're going to welcome Jake Crane from the national sports show Crane and Company on the Daily Wire to the program because he is quite close with one Jim Nagy, Oklahoma's new general manager. And so going to get some firsthand expert opinion weigh-in from Jake on what exactly Jim Nagy brings to the table for Oklahoma and why this addition for the Sooners has come to such acclaim nationally, why so many folks from across the country at the NFL level, at the collegiate level, even externally, have gone out of the way. Like I saw Tom Crean on Twitter yesterday talking about how great of a hire Jim Nagy was for OU football. Yeah, you're looking at me like that. Yes, that Tom
Crean, the basketball guy.
Tom Crean, the basketball coach, yes.
Huh. That's interesting.
So Jake's going to join the show at 2:20. Now, before we get around to him, Grayson, as you've had the chance to kind of digest this thing from all angles over the last 24 hours, since we were really just giving our knee-jerk reactions to the very fresh news yesterday, what else has just come to mind for you as you've considered what the impact of hiring Jim Nagy will be for Oklahoma?
Well, I think it moves you into that upper echelon of relationships when it comes to the SEC and really just in the country in general. And I'll regurgitate this from yesterday. You're in a win-now situation with one more transfer portal window to go. Jim Nagy has built a reputation as the director of the Senior Bowl, evaluating the talent of primarily juniors and seniors. Those are going to be the guys that are going to help you win now. You mentioned it earlier on in you and Steely's show. OU still is going to probably try to take another corner in the spring transfer portal window. Jim Nagy can help with that. Jim Nagy has, on speed dial, every relevant agent that there is. He's got relationships with players. This stuff matters. So in an era where you can talk to anybody 365 days, there is no legal tampering period like there is in the NBA or in the NFL. It's year-round. So if Jim Nagy wants to hop on the phone with somebody, his connection to that somebody is far beyond what you had, 36 hours ago before you brought him on. So the real impact, and I think you're right, this year may not be a referendum on what the impact of Jim Nagy is going to be, but long term, this is a move. Now Oklahoma, you're playing the game. Now you're back in it with this kind of a guy, and you've got a really potent chess piece here with Jim Nagy in tow.
By the way, I just got a text from a long-time college football coach. I did not know this individual was listening to our show today. He said,
"Oh no,
Quinn won't break 5.0 in the 40-yard dash."
I wanted to say I'd be surprised if he ran a sub 5.40, but I wanted to give him a little bit more credit than that.
I mean, pretty much everybody gets under 5 these days at the combine, right? Except linemen.
Exactly.
Yeah, like if you can't break 5, that's problematic. That's problematic. 2-Star Shark on the text line said Andy Bass is a 4.35 guy. Yeah, Andy Bass, he's doing it for all of us.
How many revolutionaries do y'all need?
More than just Cooper DeJean, man. He's at the forefront of the movement, but locally speaking, Andy Bass is
fair.
He is the new face of the revolution.
I mean, Oklahoma's got a got a white shooting guard named Dayton Forsyth.
He is also pretty freaking athletic. But, we need guys who can run. We got guys who can shoot the basketball.
For what? Well, why you need guys that can run?
To make us
who you trying to run away from?
Oh, we need at least a few. At least a few that can break the stigma. Andy Bass is doing it for us. 405-651-3439. But to your point, no, you're exactly right. Relationships is such a huge part of what's going to dictate who succeeds and who doesn't in the coming era of college football. Because until there's any sort of regulation on player movement, on what is essentially unchained free agency in the sport, well, tampering will abound. And you got to have somebody on your staff who is well-versed in the art of tampering. And even if Jim Nagy himself has not had to tamper before, even if he himself has not been engaged in that activity, he has all of the requisite relationships to make it happen.
And by the way, how hard is it to do?
It's just so hilarious to me that when Brent Venables was hired in December of 2021, the conversations that we were all having at the time was, man, Oklahoma, they're determined. Brent Venables is determined to do this thing the right way, build a roster using exclusively high school recruits, get to a point where they're not using the transfer portal at all. And now here we are 3 years into the experiment, all conceding that that's just not realistic and never will be. You're just going to have to play the evil game in order to get ahead.
I mean, Dabo found that out this year.
Dabo made it to the college football playoff, which...
But he held on to that. He held on to that MO as long as he could.
Yes, he did. But you're right. I think there was a realization as part of the reason why Clemson started taking transfers. There was a realization that, okay, like literally everybody but us is doing this. And if we don't start doing this, we're going to start falling behind. They were fortunate to make the college football playoff this year. Props to them for backdooring their way in via the ACC championship game.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, if you don't get with the times, you're going to get left behind. I Bleed Crimson said, FYI, Parker, you missed out on a white boy burner in Cole Adams. Guy's a Blazer. Ram Pratt. Yeah, didn't he miss the OU-Alabama game? I think he was hurt for that game. But, yeah, he went to obviously wound up committing to Alabama and is doing all right for them down there. 5-star Gunny says, white boys can't jump, though, except for that one cat that's always in the dunk contest.
Mac McClung.
Mac McClung is carrying the banner as far as jumping is concerned. He might be the only white boy who can jump.
He's carrying the banner for athleticism.
Holy smokes, man. Built a little bit different. All right, let's take an opening timeout here on Locked In. When we return, again, Jake Crane from Crane & Company going to join us. An individual that is very, very close to Jim Nagy, has some good firsthand insight on what he's going to bring to the table for Oklahoma. So we'll get on the horn with him on the other side. Stay right here on the Ref Sports Radio Network, the home of Sooner fans.
Sound off any time of day on the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line at 405-651-3439. Knippelmeyer Chevrolet in Blanchard, USA.
Tired of your current living situation? Now is the best time to make a move. Interest rates are dropping and Home Creations is offering the best financing around with rates as low as 3.625%. This will save you hundreds per month on your brand new Home Creations home. Live like a champion today by calling Holly at 405-364-9999 for full details.
364-9999 Home Creations.
APR 6.508%.
What's the biggest myth about interscholastic performing arts? That you have to be the most talented or experienced to participate. The truth is, anyone can be a part of their school's performing arts. There are countless opportunities for students to participate, from theater, choir, and band to speech and debate. The bottom line, if you want to perform, there's a place for you.
This message presented by the NFHS and the OSSAA.
Fall in love with OKC's favorite casino.
Because at Riverwind, we've got it all.
Grab a bite at one of our many restaurants.
or sip and spin at our high-stakes area.
And the Showplace Theater at Riverwind is the hottest spot for live music.
Shoot your shot at our $80,000 Cupid's Quest giveaway.
For the best gaming and unforgettable entertainment,
It's gotta be Riverwind.
For the professional, it's not enough to just possess knowledge. That's why at GMC, we seek to refine it, to wield its power, to redefine its boundaries, while pushing the limits. And we put this knowledge to the test in every GMC Sierra by engineering each one to outperform your expectations. So you know you're getting precision and durability when you need it most. And that's what makes the GMC Sierra the truck worth knowing. We are professional grade. See your Oklahoma GMC dealers.
Do you like to stand out in a crowd while wearing the best in OU apparel? The Jimmy Austin Pro Shop carries the best brands you can wear to work or even dress up events. Lines such as Lululemon, Travis Mathew, FootJoy, Greg Norman, Grayson, or Turtleson with the OU and Jimmy Austin logo are sure to catch everyone's eye. You don't have to be a golfer to shop at Jimmy Austin. They also do corporate special orders for you and your company. Call them today, 405-325-6716, or visit theougolfclub.com for more information. That twinge in your knee isn't going to wait until Monday, and neither do we. At Orthostat, we've expanded, so you get better hours, better facilities, and the same great care. Open 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., 7 days a week. Whether it's sprains, strains, fractures, or joint pain, from knuckles to knees and every joint in between, our same-day, affordable care gets you back to life faster. Visit OuchOrthostat.com to learn more.
Mike Steele here for Lasher Home Comfort Systems, your trusted home comfort experts in the Oklahoma City metro area. Tim Lasher and his team have more than 130 years of combined experience. They recognize a significant number of homeowners live with inadequate home comfort systems. They specialize in diagnosing your home system issues while providing more efficiency and reducing your utility costs. As an authorized dealer of American Standard, Tim can service your residence or business. Call Tim and his team at 405-579-3113. Lasher Home Comfort Systems.
Does your business need a trusted electrical advisor to help with repairs, maintenance, service changes, or upgrades? Don't just trust anyone. Choose Wade Electric, a family-owned company with over 50 years of experience. Wade Electric has an extensive portfolio of completed projects in new construction, remodels, and service. We specialize in a variety of electrical installations like accent lighting and automation, landscape and security lighting, shop and outbuilding wiring, and more. Call Wade Electric today at 405-329-1940 for all your electrical needs.
Yes, there is video evidence. Someone did throw a beer can at Brandon Garrison as he was leaving the floor last night at the Lloyd Noble Center.
I was in the splash zone.
Really?
Yes.
Ugh. Call that what you will, SEC readiness or just flat-out debaggery. I lean towards debaggery. Let's not be throwing beer cans at people in general. Let's not make a practice of that in society. But that is neither here nor there. What is here, or who is here, I should say, via the Riverwind Casino jackpot line, is Jake Crane from Crane & Company, friend of the program, and a friend of new Oklahoma general manager Jim Nagy as well. Of course, as I was surfing the Twitterverse yesterday, taking note of all of the reactions from prominent national personalities after Oklahoma made the hiring of Nagy official, I saw Jake tweet, "Congrats to my good friend Jim Nagy." And of course, sent him a DM. I was like, "Hey, do you really know Jim Nagy?" He was like, "Yeah, heck yeah, I do." I said, "Great. I want to hear some of your thoughts on Jim Nagy." So with that, we welcome Jake to the program. Jake, thanks for your time as always, my friend. And first and foremost, just give us the spiel from your perspective on everything that Jim Nagy is as a person, as an executive, what value he's going to bring to the table for the Sooners.
Well, first off, thank you guys for having me. I know we linked up at SEC Media Days, and no, I will not take a victory lap about my prediction. But not going to do it. Not going to do it. No, this is such a great hire for Oklahoma, and I know a lot of people have been saying that, but I'm fortunate enough. You know, I went to school at South Alabama. That's where I played in the Senior Bowls in Mobile, and you know, there's a very tight-knit kind of connection between South Alabama and the Senior Bowl in the city. So we've gone down there every year, and I've gotten to know Jim really, really well. And here's what I want to tell Oklahoma fans. The first thing the best quality that Jim Nagy has outside of just his football mind, he knows what he's looking at, first off. There's a lot of guys who say they know what they're looking at. There's a lot of guys who sound like they know what they're looking at, but they don't have a great feel for it. It's like play calling when it comes to, ceilings of players, evaluating players, understanding how players fit. Jim is a natural at that. He's very, very talented. Whether it's a diamond in the rough guy or a big-time guy, he is really, really good at being able to project and then protect. And I think those are the two things that are going to be the most valuable. He's also an incredibly motivated individual. I mean, this guy's disciplined. He's organized. Nobody's going to outwork him. And he obviously takes football very, very seriously. He's dedicated his life to it. And, the GM role isn't something that's new, right? This has been happening in college football for a while. But to me, it's not about the position. It's about the person. And giving him this responsibility, giving him an assistant GM, giving him a full support staff, letting him have his hand in not only recruiting new guys, but roster structure as well. We don't talk enough about that in the college football media space, and it's what coaches talk about 80% of the times in staff meetings. One of Nick Saban's greatest qualities was his ability to structure and manage a roster and not lose too much at one spot at one time. And I think that's going to be something that Jim can have his hand on. If there was going to be a draft of who I could draft to be my GM, Jim Nagy would be the number one pick.
Jake, that's a hell of an endorsement right there, and I think everybody's ready to run through a wall now that Jim Nagy is on board. I want to ask you this, though. What attribute of his is going to give Oklahoma the biggest leg up over a lot of their competitors, whether it comes to the transfer portal or whether it comes to recruiting players out of high school? What about Jim does that for them?
I would say evaluation number one and connections number two. Jim knows everybody from coast to coast. That's one of the greatest parts about working in the NFL. You form relationships with guys all over the country as opposed to college football. And I know that recruiting isn't really as regional as it used to be, but it's still more regional than what you get in the NFL. So whether it's a player out of junior college in California, whether it's somebody from, the swamps of Louisiana and Florida, he's going to know somebody that knows somebody. But the main thing is evaluation. It's, again, knowing what you're looking at and saying, hey, this guy's value to us is this because his ceiling is this and his floor is this. And it's not just recruiting out of high school. It's the transfer portal. It's maintaining guys that are on your roster that you feel like can grow into really good players or making the decision that, hey, maybe this was a miss. Maybe you ought to see if there's other opportunities out there for him outside of Oklahoma. So I will always take a guy that can evaluate and then get a foot in the door because of his connections. So that's what I think Jim brings to the table.
Now, Jake, this is something I want your perspective as a guy that covers college sports nationally on. For Oklahoma to pull this hire off, because I'll be honest, going back to this past weekend, I believe it was Saturday or Sunday, I found out that Oklahoma was trying to hire Jim Nagy as their GM, and I frankly kind of laughed it off. I was like, yeah, okay, we just did this whole song and dance with Jim Knowles. What are the odds they actually pull this off? But it's one thing to take a swing at a guy like Jim Nagy. It's another thing to make all of the requisite concessions to actually bring him on board. So to you, what does this say about Oklahoma's devotion to making this thing work with Brent Venables at the helm? Not just turning this thing around, but turning this thing around immediately rather than just letting 2025 be what it is and then pivoting in the direction of a new football coach at season's end if that's what becomes apparent is the direction that's necessary.
Well, I mean, I'll say this. Y'all guys love dudes named Jim. That's for sure. And after, missing on Knowles, being able to connect on one is obviously going to make everybody feel better. But here's my thing. Like, as far as devotion goes, I don't see Oklahoma as not being devoted. Like, I wasn't as surprised by this. And one of the reasons Oklahoma fits in the SEC as well as they do is because y'all are just as nuts as we are about this stuff. So, it's not like I'm not shocked that, and I don't know exactly the amount of money or this, that, and the other, that you were able to pull this off. Because, look, I'm from Auburn, Alabama, right? But I promise you, everybody in my hometown knows who Oklahoma is. You guys are a huge brand. And look, I understand Texas did their thing this last year and played in the SEC championship game, and that's going to do nothing but motivate Oklahoma to keep making moves. But I just think this is who y'all are. This doesn't shock me. It doesn't catch me off guard. It's one of the reasons why you've been able to be a power brand in college football and in college sports. It's because you guys have always been this way. I don't think this is y'all becoming something. I think this is y'all just being who y'all are.
Let's talk about the position of general manager, because I think when we hear that, we automatically go to the duties of an NFL GM, because that's the league that's had the position for the longest time. Break down what the difference is between the job that Jim Nagy is going to do at Oklahoma as the Sooners general manager and what the role of an NFL GM is. Kind of delineate between those two for us.
Yeah, well, they are totally different jobs. They may be called the same thing, but in the NFL, you draft your players. You pick your players through free agency. Yeah, Oklahoma's going to get a lot of commitments and players that they want, but you can't go get exactly everybody that you want. So it's not as solid of a process from a player acquisition standpoint. Now, where you see a lot of crossover, and again, I'll go back to what I said earlier, is roster structure. Saying, hey, this is where we're at, this is the number, this is where we need to be. Is it worth it to take this extra defensive end, even though we may be short at nickel by a guy? Is it going to be better for us in the future? These same things happen in the NFL front offices, and now, you're having to deal with NIL money as well. So I think another big attribute he brings is he's used to having to understand how the money keeps the players. And in college football now with NIL, that's as prevalent more than ever. So, in the NFL, one of the advantages is there is no class, right? You don't. Now, we'll see how much longer there's class in college athletics. I mean, I don't think a Duke players went to a class in about 15 years. But, you don't. They show up in the morning. You go, and it's football. It's football from 6 in the morning to whenever you leave, right? You don't have to worry about, this guy going and having to pass this class, or we got this transfer in and he's got to have these credits at transfer, or he can't play here, or something like that. So there are some disadvantages to it, but again, I think Jim, when it comes to the crossover of how much is alike, is prepared there, and he'll be able to adjust on the fly. That's going to be the biggest adjustment that he's going to have to make, is dealing with the ancillary stuff that's not just ball all the time, because the NFL is just ball all the time.
Now, Jake Crane is our guest of Crane & Company, national sports show on the Daily Wire. Friend of the program, we love having him on. And Jake, as you are mindful of everything that Oklahoma has compiled staff-wise this offseason and roster-wise, making a few big-time additions, obviously offensive coordinator Ben Arbuckle from Washington State and his quarterback, John Mateer, most notably. You throw in Jim Nagy, you throw in some of the other pieces that they've added in the offseason. Obviously, you were pretty spot on with your expectations for Oklahoma in 2024. I'm sure many of these fans would hit the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line and assert that it was because of injuries, which obviously part of it was. But as you look ahead to 2025, what do you think is in store for Oklahoma with all of the new combined with all of the existing? And what do you think realistic expectations for this team should be at this point?
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, and I'm not just saying this because I'm going on an Oklahoma show. I've said this on Crane & Company. I'll continue to say this. I think from a transfer portal and important position and staff standpoint, Oklahoma has won the offseason. And when you bring in who I thought was the best quarterback in the transfer portal, in John Mateer, or as we call him, the Exciting White, and then you bring in Arbuckle from Washington State, who is an incredible football mind, and then Brent Venables is going to kind of get back in his bag calling the defense, which it's easier to call defense than it is offense because it's reactionary. Not that it's easy, but it is easier for a head coach to do. I think anything less than 9 wins for this Oklahoma team would be a huge disappointment, and I would not be shocked at all if you look up late in the season and you guys have a legitimate chance to make the college football playoffs. That's even though I know you lost some pieces on defense, but I will never worry about a Brent Venables defense, and I think you got the guy on offense with his coach. There's no learning curve. You're not getting dropped in Korea and you have to learn to speak Korean. They already speak the same language. So I don't think there's going to be a huge kind of gap like there typically is with a new quarterback or a new coordinator. I think anything less than 9-3 would be a major disappointment unless there are devastating injuries that are out of your control. I think Oklahoma may be the sneakiest. If Oklahoma was ever going to be sneaky in football, they may be one of the sneakiest teams that could have a chance to do something big this year. No, they'll love me with that prediction. They hated me last year. They'll love me with this one, though.
Well, Jake, they hated me last year too, because my first week on these airwaves, I predicted something similar to what you did, and they were all over me for about a month. So you and I are in the same boat there. You know, to that point though, with all of the acquisitions that Oklahoma has made in the offseason, how quickly, because we've already had one transfer portal window come and go before Jim Nagy was brought on board, how quickly do you think we could feel the impact of a Jim Nagy acquisition? Would it be this year? Will we have to wait till after this coming season to when the next transfer portal comes? How soon do you think we feel Jim Nagy making a difference?
Well, I think you'll feel an impact just by the way things are kind of run organizationally, which I'm a firm believer in. You know, how you behave and how it's organized off the field is a huge indicator of what will happen on the field. That's why I'm still shocked Georgia can win this many games and be so disciplined on the field, yet just do crazy things off the field. They're the only ones I've ever seen get away with that. But I think you'll feel that impact as far as being able to acquire players and those type of personnel decisions. It's really just an impossibility at this point for Jim to come in and have some, huge effect on getting this player or getting that player. I think you're going to see that more as the years go, and he can actually get through a recruiting cycle. He can get through double transfer portal windows. You may see a little bit of it, obviously, in the spring one that opens up, but just the math is not going to allow him, and the calendar is not going to allow him to have a humongous impact. And you know what, to be honest with you, if for some reason there is huge personnel changes, that's not a great thing. Because if he's having to come in and overhaul the whole thing, it was way more broken than what people thought. I don't think that's the case. But moving forward, by this time next year, you'll be able to really start to see that steak getting cooked.
Jake Crane of Crane & Company, thank you so much for your time, sir. Always great to catch up with you. We'll link up again soon. You take it easy, all right, my friend?
Hey, anytime you guys need me, and appreciate y'all having me on.
All right.
Be easy, bro.
That is Jake Crane joining us via the Riverwind Casino jackpot line. Great to get his thoughts on Jim Nagy and get some of the national perspective on Oklahoma. I think it's all too easy to sit in a bubble at times, even when we don't necessarily realize it. To have an outsider, somebody that is not only keeping a close eye on Oklahoma, but keeping a close eye on the entirety of the college football landscape, hearing him weigh in and say that he sees a lot of potential in what Oklahoma is building and has already built, and especially the value that new general manager Jim Nagy is going to add to this organization. Very encouraging stuff from Jake. So, again, we thank him for dropping by here on Locked In on a Thursday. Let's hit another timeout. We got one segment to go. On the other side, we'll get to some of your texts on the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line. Take a quick spin around the recruiting landscape. We got some questions via the YouTube chat that we'll dive into as well. So stay with us. We'll be back in just a few minutes here on The Ref. Keep it here.
Do you eat, sleep, and breathe Sooner football? We do too. This is The Ref, home of Sooner fans.
Fowler Automotive is proud to be a part of your community, where our passion and values lie far beyond the showroom. We believe that families, sports, art, and culture are at the heart of every thriving community, and it's important to us that we help build the communities that our dealerships call home. Stop by any of our 6 Oklahoma dealerships to see the Fowler standard hard at work. We pride ourselves on being friendly, helpful, honest, and fair. This is what drives us every day. Fowler Automotive, a proud partner of OU Athletics.
Dreaming of an escape? What about a relaxing escape to your very own backyard? Signature Custom Pools can turn your dreams into reality. Signature Custom Pools creates distinctive designs to fit your perfect getaway. Call Signature Custom Pools for your free design consultation at 405-898-9098 or visit them online at signaturecustompools.com and turn your backyard into your dream escape.
Get ready to unleash your inner fury at the Norman Sports Commission's Fun Run. Join us on Saturday, March 1st with a race right through Norman. You can pick your distance too, a half marathon, 5K, or a 1 mile fun run, each with an unforgettable run through the iconic OU football stadium. You can sign up for the Fury Run at thefuryrun.com. That's thefuryrun.com and be part of the action.
Now. We tend not to think about now. We dream about tomorrow, relive yesterday. But right now in front of us is victory over cancer. Right now, cancer research funded by the V Foundation is leading to better treatments and saving lives. Victory over cancer is there for the taking by you, because today's cancer research is tomorrow's victory. Learn more at v.org.
Don't give up. Don't ever give up.
Tired of your current living situation? Now is the best time to make a move. Interest rates are dropping and Home Creations is offering the best financing around with rates as low as 3.625%. This will save you hundreds per month on your brand new Home Creations home. Live like a champion today by calling Holly at 405-364-9999 for full details.
364-9999 means Home Creations.
APR 6.508%.
Does your banker know your business, the challenges you face, and what makes you unique? At Armstrong Bank, we're dedicated to understanding your business and working alongside you. A true partnership is more than financial transactions. It's support, trust, and attention. This is how we make businesses stronger. Armstrong Bank. Strength runs in our family. Contact our knowledgeable bankers to open your business account. Member FDIC.
I thought mixing bleach with my floor cleaner would take the stain out.
When my youngest ate the dog's medicine, that was a new one.
I was trying to protect my garden, but I accidentally sprayed myself with pesticide.
So I called 1-800-222-1222, the poison helpline.
A poison expert helped me figure out what to do next.
I was connected to someone who spoke Spanish.
They answered my questions.
It was free.
It was confidential.
It was real help in real time.
Keep the poison experts in your pocket. 1-800-222-1222.
Are you in need of purchasing your own health insurance? Are you turning 65 and confused about Medicare? Are you an employer looking at offering benefits to your staff? Call the agents at Allison Insurance. They'll sort through the confusion. They're not captive to just one company, and they'll get the best option for you. Don't get frustrated. Call Allison Insurance at 800-580-5587 or 745-2968. Allison Insurance. They are the experts.
Well, they're calling it the Starbucks scuffle. Have you seen this, Grayson Singleton?
I have
Apparently, at the NFL Scouting Combine festivities yesterday, there was a verbal altercation at a Starbucks at the hotel where everyone stays.
Oh, I did hear about this.
Between Jordan Schultz
and Ian
Rappaport. Two, obviously, two of the top newsbreaker types in NFL circles. It's like Rappaport, Adam Schefter, Schultz. I guess Tom Pelissero will have scoops every now and again. Diana Rossini. Like, there's that circle of probably 6 to 8 reporters that you see NFL scoops from on a regular basis, and both Schultz and Rappaport are members of that circle. I guess the spat boils down to conflicting information that they reported about Tom Brady's apparent meeting with Matthew Stafford. I guess Schultz said, yeah, there was a meeting between Brady and Stafford. Rappaport came out and said, no, they didn't actually meet. They just ran into each other at the same ski resort in Montana. And then Schultz came back and said, no, they absolutely did meet. If you don't believe that, I got some oceanfront property in Arizona to sell you or something. Regardless, apparently there was a verbal altercation.
Does anybody believe that Matthew Stafford and Tom Brady just coincidentally ran into each other in Montana?
Well, exactly. And listen, I don't claim to have all of the information, but if I had to take sides just based on what I know and what I think, I'm taking Schultz's side on this one because...
Oh, yeah, so am I.
If Tom Brady and Matthew Stafford were to just run into each other at a ski resort in Montana, that detail isn't making it anywhere, right? Like, that's not newsworthy. They're not passing that along to anyone. That's not working its way up the information chain unless there was some sort of intent behind the meeting, which allegedly, per Schultz's reporting, was that Tom Brady, who's a minority owner of the Las Vegas Raiders, wants to find a way to get Matthew Stafford to Vegas to be the Raiders quarterback. So, I can't say I've ever had a verbal altercation with another reporter. Certainly not in person.
I was about to say, you've had some run-ins with
yeah.
people
No,
online.
Don't get me wrong. I've traded barbs with people in the past. I think we all have. If you've stayed in this profession long enough, you've traded barbs with somebody on social media or on a message board or elsewhere. Having it out face-to-face at a Starbucks in front of basically all the important people in the NFL circle, agents, execs, and the like, that's next level.
We got these two texts on the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line.
Oh, gosh.
Literally back-to-back. Vandalay and Norman comes in first with, Stafford is a hoe, followed by 5808. Nate. Rappaport is a hoe.
Oh, man. By the way, Connor Pasby walked in. Connor Pasby's got an excellent beard going.
He does.
I'm going to get there one day. Apparently not anytime soon.
What you gonna?
But I'm going to get there one day.
You gonna hop on that minoxidil or something?
Oh, man. No, it's what even do you do? Like, are there actual solutions for that?
For growing facial hair?
Yeah.
Minoxidil.
Really?
Yeah. Is
that the thing?
So that's what I hear a lot about.
Okay.
I'm 23. I don't need to grow a full beard.
Yeah, no, you don't.
Yeah.
And I guess I don't either.
Also, the woman I'm talking to would hate me if I did.
Really? Not a beard gal?
No, she does not like that at all.
Okay. Yep.
She does like she likes the disconnected what I've got going on here.
Little like goatee type vibe.
The mustache goatee.
Mm-hmm. So we're quote unquote talking to this girl. That's where we're at.
I mean, it's gonna stay that way until something official happens.
What's it gonna take for something official to happen?
I don't know. I'm just vibing right now.
Okay. He's just vibing, folks. Somebody put the graphic on social media. I'm just vibing right now, Grayson Singleton, when asked about his current relationship status. I'm just vibing right now. Gunny.
I don't know if we should read that one.
Gunny, yeah, I'm not going to read that. It's funny, Gunny.
Hilarious.
I'll give you that. Good text. I can't read it on air. Let's get to some questions on the YouTube chat because Topher B let us off by asking about Jake Krell and Oklahoma. And if you're not familiar with Jake Krell, you should get familiar because I think OU leads in the race for his services right now. Edge rusher out of IMG Academy. That's a white boy that can get after it on the gridiron.
Well, the white boys, they've always been good in the front seven and on the offensive line.
What's interesting, though, is like, you know, he's very – if you just ran into him on the street, you could talk yourself into believing that he's a college football player or like at this point, a high-level high school football prospect. You probably wouldn't think he's a top 100 player in the country because by football player standards, especially front seven standards, he is of very modest stature, somewhere in the 6'2", 6'3" range, about 230, 235 pounds. He doesn't look like a specimen necessarily. I mean, he looks like an athlete.
Mm-hmm.
But then you turn on the tape.
He's nasty.
That is one angry dude.
He has anger problems. the way he plays.
It's so funny, man. Watching him at the Rivals 5-star in Jacksonville last summer because like he's like grunting and grimacing every single rep he takes. It looks like the best way I can say is he's got crazy eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Like you just, as soon as he puts that hand down in the turf, you're like, oh, this is scary. This guy would kill somebody if it was legal.
Yeah. No, like watching his film scares me, and I played against dudes that played high-level college basketball and are in the NBA now.
If the purge happened, You would not want to be around Jake Krell.
Well done, Parker.
Uh-huh, there you go.
Did you go watch the movie?
No, I didn't. I'm
Damn
just
it.
piggybacking off the reference from a couple days ago.
Well done nonetheless.
Oklahoma's going to get him on campus for the Champion Barbecue. So they'll get the last shot at him during OV season. He's good buddies with Will Conroy, who, of course, is another IMG Academy guy that's committed to Oklahoma. So the Sooners got some juice in that recruitment right now. They're going to go up against LSU, against Ohio State. Obviously, Miami's in the mix. It's going to be a battle that they have to win the hard way, but Oklahoma's in a pretty good position right now to be able to close the deal with Jake Krell. It's not going to happen right this second, not going to happen next month, not going to happen in the immediate future, but once the summer rolls around, Oklahoma's going to have a definite shot, a dang good shot. They've got as good, if not better, of a chance than anybody right now to land the very talented IMG Academy edge rusher. Robert on the YouTube chat says, Parker, if you haven't run a 40-yard dash for time in 5 years, there's an 80% chance you will pull a hamstring. I'll take my chances. I run 2-3 times a week. I don't sprint, but it's not like I haven't done anything athletic in 5 years, you know?
I started to add sprinting back into I'll sprint on a treadmill.
Really?
So, usually what I'll do is I'll jack it up to about a 9 and then go back down to a walk for about a minute and then sprint for another 45 seconds and just do a series like that.
Okay.
I think I've scared some people at the gym.
Yeah, the treadmill sprint, you can't do that for very long. Otherwise, you start freaking people out.
Well, not only that, it also hurts. It does not feel good on your ankles doing that on a treadmill.
It's got to be like a 10, 15-second spurt.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Anything beyond that, and you're catching glimpses.
Yeah, it's about 30 seconds, and then, in total, it takes me about 10 minutes to do.
Postman on the YouTube chat asked, how are the newcomers doing? Any standouts? And this is where I have to remind myself, because I know we have a lot of people that listen every single day, and so they've heard us talk about some of the newcomers before. This is where I have to remind myself that even though I talk about these things every day, and even though we do have people that listen to us talk about these things every day, there are still people that are tuning in for the first time or for the first time in a while. And so I'll give you the very brief Cliff Notes version. Elijah Thomas has turned a ton of heads. If I had to pick a superlative, the freshman that's been the most impressive thus far to folks in the building is easily Elijah Thomas. Second place, that's probably a race between Fasusi and Cortland Guillory. But there have been several of those freshmen that have really made strong impressions, headlined by Elijah Thomas. Giovanni Gibson sounds like he's going to be that dude for Oklahoma at wide receiver. They think they struck gold with Giovanni Gibson from Arkansas Pine Bluff. And does this matter? Not a whole heck of a lot, but I have been told Cole Gonzalez, the other transfer quarterback from Western Carolina, has looked quite impressive. He has outperformed expectations. And so there's a lot to feel good about with that quarterback room. Because, shoot, if you get to a point where you're playing Cole Gonzalez, which shouldn't have to happen in 2025, but if it does, you get down to the third-string quarterback at any point, I think Oklahoma feels like they got a really, really good one.
Yeah.
Piper202 on the YouTube chat says, potential local media beefs. Parker Thune versus Traber. Boy Scout versus the Gout.
On the text line real fast, this was hilarious. CJ Sooner in Florida. The way Grayson constantly looks around reminds me of someone that is expecting to be yanked out of a room at any moment. I'm also producing this show.
Yes, there's a lot to keep your eyes on.
So there are
if you're running the board.
There are two computers that are this way. There's also a TV in our studio this way.
A lot of screens.
And the camera is at a weird angle here just because of how our studio is aligned. So if I'm looking at Parker, I'm looking past the camera.
3 screens plus a camera plus me. He's got 5 things that his eyes are bouncing between.
So, yes, I probably look like I'm on drugs.
It's a lot to handle. Kyle from Salisaw says, Parker, I'm on the ET train with you. He will be an All-American before he goes to the league. I can believe that, man. I can absolutely
I think so,
believe
too.
that. Gunny says, there's this new thing they have nowadays called stretching, fellas. Yes, Gunny, I'll make sure to stretch before I run my 40. Vandalay and Norman. A beautiful quote from John Daly. You can pull a muscle, but you can't pull fat. How is John Daly still alive, man?
That's a damn good question.
A miracle of modern science. All right. We're going to call it a day, folks. That's all for this Thursday installment of Locked In. For Grayson Singleton, I am Parker Thune. Thanks for hanging with us. We'll see you again tomorrow, same time, same place, here on the Ref, the home of Sooner fans. Don't go anywhere. On the other side, top of the 3 o'clock hour, Tyler McComas and Teddy Lehman take it away. It is The Rush on the other side. You're listening to the Ref, the home of Sooner fans.